Hey everybody, have you considered starting a podcast? We here at Screwball highly recommend Podbean for getting your podcast out to a larger audience. Podbean has given us the opportunity to easily bring you Screwball each and every week on all of your favorite podcast services. Use the link podbean.com/screwball to sign up and save up to 35% annually. You can also use the link podbean.com/pro/screwball to sign up for a business subscription. Happy podcasting. Hey everybody, welcome back to Screwball, a baseball podcast, your home for everything baseball. I'm your host, Mike Lepre, here with my co-host, Frank White.
Hey, how's it going?
This is episode 121 of Screwball, coming off of the eventful trade deadline we had and the fallout from it. We are back this week with a more normal episode with our news segment topic, hot players, cold players, hot teams, cold teams, and all the like. This week, actually, it was a pretty busy news week coming off of, obviously very busy news stuff with the trade deadline. This was obviously busy in different ways, some particularly big piece of news. So let's just jump right into it as we usually do with the news segment. And the first piece of news could have been an even bigger piece of news had things transpired a little different. But on Sunday, Drew Rasmussen for the Rays was almost perfect as he took a perfect game into the ninth inning against the Orioles. But on the first pitch of the inning, Jorge Mateo hit a line drive double down the line to break up the perfect game and subsequently the no-hitter. Rasmussen departed shortly after. I believe he stayed in for another batter trying to get the complete game, but the Orioles did rally for a run, and he ultimately left the game. And the Orioles did end up losing the game, so the Rays did end up holding on for the victory. This would have been the first perfect game in almost 10 years to the day, because I believe 10 years today was King Felix's perfect game. So the last perfect game coming by Felix Hernandez in 2012. So, like I said, would have been a bigger piece of news because perfect games, I think we only have under 30 or about 30 and ever. So, good on him for a really, really good start. And he was really mowing through an Orioles team who really, all in all, has been having a pretty good year. I think I even saw the other day where if they were in the Central Division, they'd be in first, which is pretty incredible, all things considered. So, good on, Drew Rasmussen for putting out a show. And good on the Orioles for actually rallying there in the ninth and being like, hey, let's not get a perfect game thrown against us. And they didn't even get shut out, all in all. So,
Well, the Rays, that was awful. To not let him finish the game. I think he had 88 pitches.
Yeah, I know he didn't have that
With
much.
2 outs left to get. So let him throw a complete game.
Yeah, I wasn't
you think he's
sure.
Gonna unravel? He was just perfect through 24 hitters. I think he'll be able to figure out 2 more outs.
Yeah, and I think they were up 4-0 at the time. They got a run, but,
I thought that was terrible. Let the guy get a complete game.
Well, that's the Rays. Taking out Blake Snell in the fifth,
Yeah,
how it goes.
idiotic. So, good for him to get that far. But if I was him, I would be very upset if I'm not going to get a chance to get a complete game. So.
Yeah, no, I agree. But at least, like I said, the Orioles did rally there and didn't go down without a fight. So almost perfect. Probably one of the closer times been to a perfect game in a while. So that was exciting. Number 2 I have here is the Field of Dreams game. Just a quick recap on that. The Chicago Cubs defeated the Reds 4-2 on Thursday night in the 2022 edition of the Field of Dreams game. Kind of like last year's contest between the White Sox and the Yankees. Thursday was played at the site in Iowa, where they actually filmed the movie Field of Dreams. So I just, wanted to bring this up because it was, this is the second year they did it. So the first year obviously had all the pomp and circumstance and had the Yankees and the White Sox. This year was the second year they did it. They had a few different things here. They had the Ken Griffey Jr. and Ken Griffey Sr. coming out to play a catch. I thought that was nice. They had what I thought was weird, out of pocket, was Harry Carey come back as a hologram and doing to take me out to the ball game. It was just jarring. It didn't look like him. I didn't like it because you have this game where you're coming out of a cornfield and you have all the teams dressed in teens and 20s stuff, and then you have a hologram singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." It just felt weird. I didn't like it. Anyway, I just wanted to bring it up because it was the second year. They did weird stuff like that. You didn't have 2 really good teams. You had the Cubs and the Reds who were just fighting for 4th or something, fighting for 3rd, really. So overall, I think that, I like the Field of Dreams game. I think it's pretty cool. I think that it's overall a good idea to get baseball out in Iowa, even though if it is a smaller ballpark. And just, I feel like it brings fans together and brings generations together. And I think overall it's a good idea, but I don't know what you were kind of thinking with the field, if you were even interested at all, or if it just kind of passed by and
I
it was like
watched
whatever.
a little bit of it this year compared to last year. I didn't watch the whole one, but it was all right. It's still a cool concept. I don't think they're going back there next year. I think next year they're either skipping it or they had something with the field was already booked or the MLB couldn't get in there. Something weird.
That's weird.
But I don't think the MLB is going back next year at least. I think it, probably in the future after that. But I don't think it'll be scheduled as of now to go back there next year. But I thought the game was all right. It's a cool concept. It keeps people involved. I think they just need to keep doing it locally. They're going to go to London and stuff. I'm not a big fan. I keep going to London and Germany and all that other crap. But they get the Little League Classic. I thought it was cool. The Field of Dreams I think is cool. I really think they're dropping the ball on the idea of having the Cooperstown Classic. And have them go play in Cooperstown. Maybe induction weekend.
Right.
I don't see how you can not. I mean, that would draw so many viewers. You got a crowd full of Hall of Famers sitting there watching a game, talking to the players, and in Cooperstown at the Cooperstown Field, the old school field. I mean, I think that would draw a huge crowd.
Almost makes too much sense.
And you have all them fans already there for the induction. It'd be a great way to Sunday Night Baseball. And inductions on Saturday, Sunday Night Baseball, or Saturday night. In Cooperstown. So I think that would be a great idea. And then maybe get these games in cities that you might want to get a team in.
Right.
Like, you don't have a team in Nashville. Play a game in Nashville. You don't have a team in Vegas. Play a game in Vegas. There's things you could do.
There's thoughts there,
locally, at least. I think that doesn't, isn't a bad idea. Overall, I thought the game was all right. It's a cool concept still. So, other pieces of news, we had, Pujols hit 2 home runs yesterday. Got to 689 home runs. He's tied for 5th in the multi-home run category in baseball history. To stick with the Cardinals in their history with their 3 players on the verge of retirement, Wainwright and Yadier Molina are now 6 starts away from breaking the record for most starts by a tandem.
Yep.
So they should get that. Pitch every 5 days. 6 times 5 is 30. 30 days. You're in mid-August. That should take you to mid-September. So they should be able to break that record. And then the last piece of news I got here, obviously, was the big piece of news we had, and which is going to be our, part of our topic, is Tatis suspended 80 games with PEDs. I don't care what they say with the ringworm and other crap. That wasn't that. Many people came out and said that you don't use that for that purpose. So he cheated. Took steroids to try coming back sooner because he already got injured, right? That makes the most sense. Most players say that. They take the steroid to try coming back from injury faster and be healthier and things like that. So that's what happened. He got suspended his 80 games. I'm kind of surprised, to be honest, that this wasn't swept under the rug by MLB. This is their face of their franchise, face of their sport at this point. They think so. I'm surprised they didn't sweep this under the rug. That's how I feel. I really thought they were going to sweep it under the rug or really kind of give him 25 games because maybe they're going to listen to what he said. Something stupid. So I do commend the MLB for actually following its rules, but I really thought they were going to sweep this under the rug. Like, no, it never happened.
We like Tatis.
If you're Tatis, simple as you could have just made a mistake, but that's a letdown. You embarrassed yourself and the league and the players and your teammates. It's a letdown. I thought you're a cheater. I don't care what happens. I don't care. Oh, you cheated, you made a mistake, and you were stupid for it. Go to the trainer if you had an issue.
Yep.
They'll tell you what to take. And if they tell you the wrong thing at that point, you probably have a good appeals if you follow the protocol.
Right.
So I thought, he's a cheater. He didn't make a mistake. He has Hall of Fame, whatever he might even have. I know he's 22 years old and he, has more than 10 hits in the league, but that's out the window at this point. That's all gone. And you're burning bridges with all your teammates in the franchise.
Right.
You crashed your motorcycle twice, reported once. You only reported it once, the one he hurt himself. But you crashed it twice in the offseason. You can't stay in the field the year before. You already have a back issue. That seems to be, they said that was not really going to go away much. It's going to be something he deals with. You have a shoulder that keeps popping out of place. You're an injury-prone guy. You can't play defense where it'll save your life.
Right.
Last year, we seen down the stretch, they started struggling. Machado got right in his face and yelled at him because he was getting thrown out of games and just playing for himself.
Right.
This guy is a guy who only cares about Fernando Tatis and only Fernando Tatis.
Yep.
That's all he cares for. It's all he wants to play for. His stats, his money, things like that. We already seen it. Can he change that? Sure, he's 23 years old. Can he change that picture? Right now, he's not going to change it. The franchise called him out. And you're a letdown. you're about to come back from a stupid injury done by yourself, and now you pull this crap. Now you're out this year. You're out for the playoffs this year as well. You're out 43 games next year, and I think you're gonna miss the playoffs next year because you have to miss the playoffs, I believe, for the season that your suspension ends in. I believe, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
That's that part of the rule I'm not really sure about, but he's gonna miss a bunch of time next year. That's gonna leave you a year. You were not playing baseball for over a year.
Yeah. And it's not like you're coming back like you would have came back this year from an injury. It's almost like, oh, finally he's back. And he's going to come back and it's going to be a little like, oh, he's back. You know, it's going to be a little awkward.
Yeah, and a wrist injury.
Yeah.
Which is not a great injury for power hitters. I don't know. Who says he doesn't get on the motorcycle and start driving that thing again? I think, and I said it last week, and I thought, it could have been a crazy thought by some people. You should have traded Tatis for Soto. I said that. I've been saying it for a while now if you're the Padres. Well, now, look at it. You would have got rid of that contract. You would have got your player you needed, and you would have been fine.
Yeah. Yep.
Now you're going to have Tatis. Oh, you don't pay him for the suspension. Well, you're paying him for the next 9 years after that. I don't know. And then what are you going to say? That's your leader? Is that the leader of your team? If you're Juan Soto, are you signing back for 10 years? For him to be your teammate when you have no idea if the guy's showing up tomorrow?
Yeah. A little bit of an awkward hello.
Yeah.
You know.
The guy's been in the league for, 2 years? And he's been nothing but controversy and problems. That's like if you were a Dodgers player years ago and you're signing contracts and you're packing your bags and you're, slamming your fist down on the table with Yasiel Puig as your leader.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard to trust. It's hard to trust that guy. So this guy really might not show up tomorrow.
Because you don't know what he's going to do.
That's where we're at with Tatis. I don't care about the apologies. I don't care about this. You're not deeply sorry because you did it and you cheated. I know people say, well, why did baseball have the cheating thing where they can't be in the Hall of Fame? Football, it's just 4 games and no one remembers it and you're in the Hall of Fame. Like Ray Lewis, right? Mm-hmm. He cheated. He got suspended 4 games. He took PEDs. Literally got suspended for one of his last years of his career.
Yep.
All forgotten. Now look at the other things we've had NFL players do. Lawrence Taylor and his issues, right? Baseball seems to have that PED thing where you kind of set your career and your life in stone. Well, that's because baseball, all people talk about is still people taking PEDs. And it was such a big problem in the late 90s. Just don't take them. Just don't take them.
Yeah, you know the rules,
And then you take them, and you still can't stay on the field.
Yeah.
So what the hell are they doing? Hopefully it was a steroid to make him throw the ball from shortstop to first base, because he's the worst shortstop defensively. What do you have, 18 errors in April last year?
It was something like that.
I mean, awful. Pathetic. And I was like, I didn't hate Tatis. I was not a big fan of the way they brought him up and promoted him, and he was the face of baseball and all this other crap they talked about him in his 3 games he played, and he got hurt all the time and things like that. So I was a little upset the way they brought him up and kind of talked him up as he was, he was Babe Ruth already. But then you get this come out, and it's like, it's. And then people say, oh, is baseball, people say baseball's dying, and they don't have faces of the game, and they don't promote their guys. Well, how the hell are you going to promote that guy?
Yeah, just
come watch him. He just cheats. Then you had Cano, the way he ended his career. I mean, Jesus Christ, guys, just don't take the damn steroids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really, at this point.
You're up at 20 years old.
And you're a phenom at 20 years old.
You're playing you're playing 18 years. You're going to be 38 years old to retire. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You get 105 hits a year. You can have 2,000 hits in your career. 105 hits ain't shit in a season. You're on the verge of being a Hall of Famer by just putting up 100 hits a year.
Mm-hmm. Why
are you taking steroids? Then he goes back to, when was he taking it last year? Was he taking it this year? What was he taking it? When? It's a whole big thing. But baseball can't seem to get under this or away from this PED problem. And they have made their rules and stuff harder. I commend them for not sweeping this under the rug or giving them some sort of 20-game suspension for some reason. They come up with some nonsense appeal for them. You get your 80 games, you cheated. The MLB should make an announcement and be like, hey, he cheated, and this is what happens. I wouldn't be no problem seeing these guys done. 162 games, you're done. I have no problem seeing guys PED, you're gone. You don't play baseball no more. At this point, something has to be done to send a message. Oh, well, he did it twice. No, I don't want to do it twice. You do it once is one too many. Give me a break. And the thing, the craziest stuff with this, you could file a thing to use these drugs.
Mm-hmm.
A-Rod, his first time got caught with the steroids, he never re-upped his thing, his application essentially to the MLB to use that. Chris Davis with the Adderall, 25 games, he never re-upped his application to use that.
Right.
You could apply for that stuff, and MLB's very willing to take it if you could prove why they use it.
Right.
And then at least if you don't re-up it, you kind of get the 25-game suspension when you're not quite deemed the cheater, right? It just seems lazy, self-centered, immature, stupid. And if I'm the Padres at this point, I might be filing an appeal to get your contract voided. He literally signed a contract, and then he crashed his motorcycle twice and now took PEDs. And hasn't played a game since he signed his extension, right?
I believe so, yeah.
10 years, right? I believe it was the extension.
It was like a 10-year deal, yeah.
I don't think he's really played since then. I might file a void and get rid of that contract. I'll take that contract, get right to Soto. I have no problems in my life.
Yeah, right?
It is what it is. He's going to have to live with it. But if he thinks he's going to get, round of applause or people to feel sorry for him, you're out of your mind. $300 million. Don't take steroids. It's not hard.
Yeah.
Oh, about bonds. Hell, technically, it wasn't illegal. Did we get down that road? It's illegal now. Not hard to follow the rules.
Right. It's been illegal. It's not like this is new.
Yeah, and we just seen the Astros and stuff cheat, and all these guys. And I bet you he's one of the guys. Oh, the cheaters and cheaters and cheaters, and then you do that.
Yep.
So, what's worse?
Yeah, I like Tatis as far as a player. As a person, that's very, very questionable. Good player. He's actually a sign of, I thought, was like this movement, let the kids play and all that stuff. He was kind of a new style of baseball, coming up 21, 22 years old. He's 23 now. And I like the player. He's got a lot of power for all his defensive problems. He does have flash, all that stuff. And it just makes me sad that the Padres as a team, and I wrote this in my notes, can the Padres even trust him now? He's now crashed a bike twice while hurt. He's taken the PEDs. The Padres can't be happy with him. They came out and didn't exactly sing his praises. So, as a team, you let your team down. Machado already ripped into you once. We saw that on TV. Machado's really the leader of that team now. As far as what I can see, I don't know
what he's went through to get there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he had his problems. He was almost his own Tatis when he first came up, like you said with the thing with Donaldson.
He was going to be on the field and he was going to play, and for all we know right now, he plays the game right, and that's the problem. Tatis pulls that. How many guys are pulling that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can
you trust anybody? Is he playing the game right? Now you bring up this whole concern. It's not the same as NFL and NBA. These guys do those things. It's not the talk because it's never been the talk. Baseball's always been the talk.
Right.
Now we'll do. This guy's taking steroids, and this one's taking steroids. Well, this guy's playing good. He's taking steroids.
Yeah.
Batista hit 50 home runs in a year. He's taking steroids. Was he? Probably. But, that's the question. Because baseball, and it just keeps coming out, it's, this guy's on steroids. This guy's on steroids. I don't watch because it's steroids.
Yeah.
Well, your best players are on steroids. And you get the allegations with when that guy said Trout was on steroids, right?
Mm-hmm. Was that Bauer?
Yeah. I mean, you just get left with these guys. And it leaves that bad taste in your mouth. And who's on steroids? Who's not on steroids? What is this? What's that?
Yeah.
I don't know. All because you had to pull some stupid and then come up with some, piss poor excuse. And then apologize. Oh, I'm so sorry. No, you're not.
Yeah.
No, you're not. You did it because you're self-centered and you hurt the game of baseball for something we thought, the black eye on baseball. It's always going to be there. But, it fades and fades and fades, and then this comes out.
Yeah.
We've seen it with Cano, and it's like, and then you see it with minor league guys. You're like, oh my gosh, it's still there in minor leaguers. And then the big name guys hit you. It's like, Jesus Christ!
I know. Then
just
this
stop
is a
doing it.
Big name too.
This is quote the quotes face of the MLB. Well, it's not.
Yeah.
So and there he goes cheating and just sends everything back.
Yeah, it does. It brings things. You're regressing in baseball because that steroids is the big problem. It's always a black cloud over baseball, and it has been for the last 25 years. Or something like that. So, it's a shame. I'm sad. It's a sad baseball day because you would like to see Tatis just come back and have him not do the steroids. And maybe this is a learning lesson. Maybe this is a lesson, for him to learn. And maybe now he's 23 years old. I'm sure he's still going to be immature and make wrong decisions and stuff. Well, I mean, that also comes with the territory. You're young and all that stuff. So. But hopefully he takes this and learns from it, and he can move forward now and have a good career, whether, Now, of course, that really tarnishes some Hall of Fame and really credibility for a long time here in his playing career. But hopefully he can keep his head down, play the game, play for his team, because that's the thing here. He's proven that he's very selfish. He's proven this a lot, actually. It's not just this, but just in his attitude, he's very selfish. So hopefully he can come out and be the Padre player that everyone wants him to be, really. Padre fans and Padre players, even MLB fans want him to be. So it's a shame. He's a dummy for doing it, and we'll just hope that he and the Padres can move on, and it's going to be a pretty weird time in between then to see what everyone, all eyes are going to be on him as much as they already are.
And last thing before we get to our next one, because I don't want to keep getting on to this because I just can't stand it. I want the same people who got down Bonds' throat and Clemens' throat. Clemens never even got proven that he took steroids. McGuire, Sheffield, who never got proven with steroids. Sosa, who never got proven with steroids. All those guys to jump down those throats. Of course, A-Rods and hated A-Rod. And I want you to just keep that with this guy. Keep that with Cano. Keep that with Tatis. Keep that same attitude. You want to talk about cheaters? He cheated. On the MLB, I'm not promoting him no more.
Yeah.
He will not be on a promotion. He will not be in commercials. He will not be anything. You're done.
Yeah, you're not going to be our face.
You will not be eligible for the All-Star game either anymore. That's how I'd be handling this. You're going to get treated like a cheater. Suspended. You're not eligible for All-Star games anymore. You will not be in home run derbies. You will not be promoted. You will not be in commercials. You will not be anything but play the game. Oh, you got a problem with that? So, go ahead, see you in Japan. Especially for a guy like this. That's what hurts you.
Yeah.
Not just, Tyler Wade running around with their steroids, It's still not good.
Yeah.
But this is your guy.
Yeah.
You wanted to be, at least. And he does this.
Yeah.
You just kind of shut him off. Goodbye. Thanks for playing. You get your money. Whatever. But, you really stabbed us in the back.
No, I agree. It's it sucks and says a lot about him as a person, so like I said, I like the player, but getting hard to separate the person from the player, that kind of thing. So
you never forget what happens.
Mm-hmm.
You can kind of bring that concept, but you can't win the division in April, but you can lose it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You don't make your life with one mistake.
Mm-hmm.
But you change it.
Yeah, especially something like this. Yeah.
It doesn't alter everything, but it's never gonna be the same.
Yeah, agreed.
So I don't want cheers and people to forget, I want your Padres signs. I want your Tatis as a cheater sign. I want everything.
Mm-hmm.
I want your boos. I want your Ryan Dempsters trying to hit A-Rod in the head. That's what you get. You want to be a cheater, you get treated like a cheater.
Yeah. And that will remain to be seen because I think he'll be out of action till May or June of next year.
And not playing baseball for almost, a year and a half to 2 years, not playing Major League Baseball other than a couple of rehab games.
Yeah, so it's going to take some time for him to come back. And
then you see your whole franchise just dump the farm system and get Josh Bell and get Juan Soto and get Brandon Drury and get all these guys, and you don't have the nerve to just not take steroids.
Right.
Oh, I wanted to win. No, you didn't. You don't tell me that. So, very upsetting. And I don't know if I was surprised when I seen the name.
I'm not really surprised myself,
I was like,
to be honest.
That happens. I was seeing Mike Trout, like, that's what.
Yeah, right.
You see him, you're like.
Yeah. Yeah, you see a Mike Trout or an Aaron Judge or even at this point Machado. It's a bit more surprising that you see Tatis.
The guys who have the respect in the league, and then you see this guy, you're like.
Yeah, you see Tatis, and you're like, well.
Regular old run of the mill,
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I think that's all we can say about that, and he can fend for himself at this point, but very upsetting, and
we'll see what happens when he comes back next year.
Just an issue that MLB has to deal with day in and day out.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, exactly. So, as the spotlight is always on him, it's even more on him now. So
for bad reasons.
Yeah. But let's move on to the wrap-up of the news, who is doing the best right now. So, our old buddies are back at the top of the record list, as they always are every, I don't know how many episodes we've done this podcast. The Dodgers own the best record in the league. It's 79-34 after rattling off, I think, 12 wins in a row. The Mets are second in the NL at 75-40. Over in the AL, the Astros lead with a record of 75-41, while the Yankees are in second at 72-43. The Dodgers own the best run differential at plus 247, and the Nationals own the worst at minus 210. The Nationals obviously already having a rough year, and then losing,
terrible, yeah.
and then losing, Soto and Bell. At least you got Luke Voigt, I guess. But
Yeah. Yeah, they
so that's
not too great. Some teams I got here hot and cold. Cleveland playing great. I think they took the division lead over there. Houston keeps playing. Astros keep playing everything. The Angels have actually been playing good baseball of late, but don't hold your breath on that because they're pathetic. The Mets have been playing good. The Braves keep rolling along. Cardinals, dangerous team. I know I talked about them last week saying they didn't make enough moves, but with some guys coming back and the way they're playing, Pujols is turning back the clock right now. They're dangerous. They took the division lead. They are dangerous. They have some guys underperforming that seem like they might be turning the corner. You get some guys back, Flaherty. They're dangerous. Dodgers, of course. Some teams that have really been struggling. The Yankees, Blue Jays have been really terrible since they got rid of Montoya almost at this point.
yeah.
Tigers, just bad. That never worked. It just didn't work. They fired their GM. Things are not good in Detroit, but hopefully turning around soon, but I don't know. A's, of course. Marlins have been playing bad. I think they went 15 games in a row without scoring more than 3 runs. The Marlins.
Jesus.
Something like that. Pirates, of course, not playing great baseball, and the Reds. So that kind of makes sense, but there's some hot and cold teams that I had listed here.
Okay. Yes, good. There's been some good baseball. Yeah, some of the hot teams have been playing good. The Cardinals, Dodgers, Astros have been there all year. Some of the colder teams, obviously Yankees have been cold of late. They're one of the top teams. So, some teams have been playing kind of constant all year. Dodgers really have been good all year. And this has obviously been a spike for them. Braves and Mets pretty much been playing good all year. Braves really been playing catch up with the Mets and been keeping right with them. So, got a nice divisional race there. And, we'll see where some of the other teams land. It's going to be, I think there's going to be some of the wild card, races are going to be really interesting, especially with that third team. So, but yeah, so let's move on to the who's hot and who's not section of the show, the hot and cold players. This week, I don't know, I didn't quite take a look at the players of the week. I believe Machado was one of them. I do have him, but I'm not sure who the AL was. Bregman was really good this week, so it could have been him, but I just want to let you know that I did see one of them. It was Machado, and I didn't see the AL one, so just preface that before I list these 5. So, in no particular order, my hot players of the week are number 1, Joey Meneses for the Nationals, batted .526 over the last week with a 1,000 slugging and a 1571 OPS. Number 2, Alex Bregman, batted .474 over the last week with a 1,000 slugging and a 1,600 OPS. Number 3, Manny Machado, batted .458 over the last week with a 917 slugging and a 1397 OPS. Number 4, Christian Walker, who's been kind of, underrated, been playing pretty well. He batted .476 over last week with a 762 slugging and a 1282 OPS. And number 5, Vinny Pascantino, I hope I'm saying his name right, on the Royals, batted .455 over the last week with a 1045 slugging and a 1545 OPS. So yeah, you kind of got best of both worlds. You got Alex Bregman and Manny Machado on there, but you also got guys like Joey Meneses and Vinny Pascantino. Some big names and some smaller names.
Yeah. Some guys I got on my list here. I believe you mentioned Christian Walker already. Nico Horner, playing good for the last month or so, really. Randall Grichuk, you haven't heard much of him all year. We said that a couple weeks ago. And I think he's betting up to 278, 280 at this point. Colorado. Andre Jimenez, absolutely nuts. He's got 2 home runs today in a doubleheader. Bregman, like you mentioned, Machado. Some pitchers that are doing good. Cal Quantrill, I believe went 7 or 8 shutout innings the other day. Cole had 8 shutout innings. Luis Castillo had 8 shutout innings. He's been great all year. Zach Gallen's been pitching good. Wainwright had 9 innings, 1 run. Didn't even get the decision. They ended up winning in 10 in that game. That's always a heartbreaker.
Jeez.
Fantasy-wise, especially when you're looking for that complete game. And Kenley Jensen. He hit a couple saves over the last 7 days. So there's some pitchers that have been really throwing the ball pretty well. Most of them guys are bigger name guys. Obviously Jensen, Castillo, Cole, but Cal Quantrill, Zach Gallen, I think really starting to make a name for himself, but not many people know yet. And then Wainwright at his age, obviously. So there's some little bit surprises and some, obviously rock steady guys in there as well.
Yeah, I like seeing Zach Gallen's name on there because I like him, and I think he's actually a little bit underrated. So it's good to see him on there.
And his mate out there, Merrill Kelly.
Yeah.
Who no one's talking about, but he's, I think, under 3 ERA this year.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. I mean, I know that the Diamondbacks are almost like, I don't know if you would even say back page news. It's like no news. It's like,
Just middling.
Yeah,
That's how they always do. Other than last year, they just kind of middle around with some talent, and then you're like, oh, whatever.
That thing got talent out there, so I don't know. I don't think they get quite the credit they deserve.
You just get a little bit of tough break with the division they're in. You got to play the
Yeah,
Dodgers
oh my gosh.
19 times or 20 times. You got to play the Padres 20 times. And then, last year was the Giants, but you got to play the Giants. They're still they're a 500 team this year, so it's not quite that big.
Yeah, it's not like
But the Padres are a good team, and the Dodgers obviously are, paid to be the best team. So
Yep.
you take them out of that division, and then add 5-6 wins to their total, and they're about 500. Now they're a couple games over.
Yeah, I'm sure if you threw them in the NL or AL Central, I'm sure they find some more wins. You know what I mean?
They might win the division.
Yeah. I mean, you never know. Especially in the AL Central,
AL
a little
Central
bit more.
Right, this year, yeah. NL Central, I don't know if they do that with that.
Yeah, because you do have the Cardinals.
They're still
in
better.
There. Oh yeah, they're definitely looking a lot better than the Cubs or Reds. But
AL Central, they might win the division.
Yeah. Oh well, yeah. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised. So.
Not playing the Dodgers at least cost them 5 wins.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's got to be put them at about 500.
Yeah, because they got some talent. So, and then all of a sudden you start believing, you start beating teams, and you're like, oh, we could do this. So you never know. The cold players of the week. There were some really cold players this week, I gotta say. So, in no particular order, my 5 cold players of the week were number 1, Ty France, batted .095 over the last week with an .095 slugging and a .269 OPS. Number 2, Gleyber Torres, 0 average, 0 slugging, and .048 OPS over his last 20 just in this week. He did get a hit here in the first inning, so he did break that slump. Number 3, Joey Votto, batted .100 over the last week with a .150 slugging and a .332 OPS. Number 4, Miles Straw, 0 average, 0 slugging, 0 OPS over his last 19. The last week, he also, I believe he had 2 hits today, or at least a hit. I did see him get a hit. So
Try to repeat those 0 stats.
Yeah, I mean, that's not even getting on base or nothing. So that's
it's hard to really put that together a couple weeks in a row unless you're Gallo.
Yeah, well, that's what he did, at least with the Yankees. And then number 5, Christian Yelich, 0 average, 0 slugging, and a .143 OPS. He was over his last 18. I don't know what he's done yet. Yeah, he's at this point. Yeah,
the Brewers paid him. He's got the back issues. He doesn't hit home runs, and he doesn't hit. He bats .250. He's still young. Hopefully, he can figure something out. But I don't know what happened. How could he go from being one of the best hitters we've seen?
I know.
That stretch of that year, though, or a year and a half there, I mean, he was unbelievable.
You couldn't get him out,
He carried the Brewers.
Mm-hmm.
And then with the pitching, obviously, you're like, this is it. They could do something. And now he's it's hard to start.
I know.
He's not like a plus defender.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good defender, a little above average. But, it's like, this guy, we can not play him and be just fine. McCutchen has the same stats.
Yeah, it's true.
So,
and McCutchen's how many year veteran?
38 years old or whatever he is.
Yeah.
Needs ACL a couple years ago,
And I like Christian Yelich too, so it's a shame.
Yeah,
I do like the guy.
bought his rookie card the year before he bought he won the MVP. So
Mm-hmm.
I was on the Christian Yelich train. He was up when he was 20-something years old, 21 years old.
Yeah.
So
I don't know what's going on.
I don't know. It's a shame, but yeah. Some players I got, Josh Bell's been cold since he went to the Padres. Jorge Polanco, been cold. Tyler Neal, I know he had a home run yesterday, but he's been pretty cold here, and he can get going for the Cardinals. Could help. And Carlson's been cold. He had a home run yesterday, so if they could turn it around with the Cardinals already winning games, all of a sudden maybe really hard to beat.
Yeah.
Some pitchers, Miles Mikolas. He went 8 innings, 2 runs the other day. The other start against Colorado, he gave like 10 runs in 1 inning.
He sure did.
That's terrible. Martin Perez got beat up a little bit. Zach Wheeler gave some runs yesterday to the Mets, even though he usually shuts the Mets right down. Jose Barrios has been not good this year. He's either been 7, 8 shutout innings or literally 10 runs in 1 inning. I think he's done that 3 times this year, where he's got like 8 or more in an inning start. And Brad Keller has been pretty cold. So there's some pretty big names on that cold pitching list there. Nicholas Perez, Zach Wheeler, Jose Barrios, Brad Keller's kind of hit or miss. But first 4 guys there, Martin Perez coming to the year, you go, oh, but this year he's an all-star. So those 4 names there are a little surprising, but it's what happens. Sometimes it's one bad start like Mikolas.
Yeah.
Because yesterday he pitched 8 innings, 2 runs. You go, why is he on the cold list? Well, the day before he pitched 1 inning and gave up 9 runs. So that's why.
Yeah. Yeah, I seen that. I have him on my fantasy team, so seeing 2 2/3 and 10 earned doesn't usually help your ERA for the week.
No, I've
so.
been there. I've been there and done that. San Diego Cotero last year, twice against the Dodgers. I think he went 2 innings combined and gave 15 runs. It's like, yeah, thanks. That's
yeah, it's
what
really
happens.
a good way to start the week.
Yeah, we roll around on Monday and you're like, oh, well, I got a 98 ERA this week. I better have worked that one down.
Yeah, I got to whittle that down. So
And then the next guy comes in and gives it a run. You're like, all right, so I'm breaking the record.
yeah. Yep.
So, Yeah, that's what I got there. The next thing I got some injuries. Again, it hasn't been a terrible injury week overall. DJ LeMahieu, MRI on his toe. They say he's just day to day, more precautionary. He should be fine. Michael Brantley, unfortunately, shoulder surgery. Finally decided on that, out for the year. Ramon Laureano, they took him out of a game the other day. He's probably going to end up on the IL at this point. Anthony Bender on the IL for the Marlins. Luis Guillermo for the Mets out 4 to 6 weeks. He's been kind of unsung hero for the Mets this year. Corey Knebel on the IL for the Phillies. That's going to hurt them. The Phillies chasing down. They've been playing good. Nick Senzel on the IL, of course. That's how it goes. Andrew Heaney left his start. He was day to day. He's been hurt all year, but when he's pitched pretty well. Ketel Marte left the game the other day. Dalton Varsho left the game for the Diamondbacks. Both of them left the game the other day. And Alex Colomé placed on the IL. And Jock Peterson went for, I believe, an X-ray. He got hit by a pitch on his elbow, I believe. But I believe he's day to day. So injury-wise, not too much real bad news yet. On the good side of things, it's been pretty good. Russ Stripling had a rehab assignment. He should be back here pretty soon. Wander Franco, they say, could be back as early as this weekend from a hamate bone injury. That would be good for my fantasy team, good for Rays, and maybe good for the face of baseball at this point after Idiot. Glass now could be on the verge of coming back. He's facing live hitters. That would be exciting. Stanton should be back here pretty soon. Eduardo Rodriguez should be back for Detroit. It's just good to kind of maybe get the team healthy and see what you have going into next year. Trout hit on the field. Patent practice. He should be coming back here pretty soon, hopefully. McCullers was activated, pitched 6 shutout innings against the A's the other day. Jack Flaherty's pitching rehab assignment games. We have Kershaw is progressing to come back here pretty soon. Alfaro missed a couple days with the knee injury. He's back. Oddly enough, I did put Tatis on here because he was about to come back this week, but that's out the window. But yeah, we got a lot of guys coming back, getting healthy. Making these runs to get back, and some big name guys here. I mean, Franco, Glasnow, Stanton, Trout, McCullers, Flaherty, Kershaw.
Big names.
I mean, those are some big names. Some Hall of Famers.
Literally, yeah.
So to get those back here in the stretch run of baseball, especially after what happened, is probably very, very important.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but yeah, that's my my injury roundup.
Yeah, it certainly hurts more. Tatis, it wasn't like he got caught with it in the midst of his injury in May or June.
He's literally back this week.
Yeah.
Literally back.
It was like they were already getting ready for the Tatis welcome home parade, and then they literally got the rug just pulled right out from under them. So it's like...
Yeah, he got prime Mike Tyson punched straight in the mouth.
Yeah, so that makes it even worse. I think the timing of it actually, was just as bad as the actual, thing itself. So
it's like being starving. Everyone's been starving before in their life. And you go to pull into like a McDonald's or something, and you're on the verge of getting food, and then the place is closed.
Yeah, you go to pull on the door and
you're like,
closed.
I'm gonna actually explode. That's what happened with the Padres. They could taste it.
Yeah, they got a Big Mac coming. You know,
and then the guy slipped and fell and threw it in the yard. Delivered it.
Yeah.
So that's what you deal with. So
yeah, exactly.
That's where we're at with that. But the last little thing here is a trivia question. Of course, that's why we're all here, right? So we have Pujols, 42 years old, possibly 60 years old. We all know that story.
Yeah, somewhere in between.
How old he could possibly be, hitting home runs still. So I wanted to kind of stick with the home runs. Seems to always be a good trivia question. Home runs one, and then want to stick to this one with the age. Who is the oldest player to hit a home run in MLB history? And the answer is Julio Franco, who I believe is still playing professional baseball overseas.
Yep.
In May 4th, 2007, for the Mets, New York Mets at Arizona Diamondbacks. Julio Franco, at 48 years old, 8 months and 11 days old, hit a home run off of then 43-year-old Randy Johnson.
Incredible
all around.
Yep.
But yeah, Julio Franco is the oldest player to hit a home run in MLB history at 48 years old, 8 months and 11 days. So probably 48 years old and 200 or so days if you want to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's the oldest to hit a home run, and I believe he holds the record for the oldest to have a multi-home run game.
Of course he does.
And he's still playing baseball out there somewhere. He was a .298 career hitter. I think he had over 2,500 hits in his career. You really break it down, he had a hell of a career. It took him a lot of years to do it. You look at his stats cumulatively, you go, boy, you know what? He had a good career. And then he got 1.1% in the Hall of Fame, which you look at Julio Franco, he ain't a Hall of Famer. But boy, you look at his stats, and you go, boy, I think he had a 48.8 WAR or so.
That's pretty good.
It's like, geez, this guy was pretty good.
Yeah.
One of the famous batting stances.
Yeah.
And one of the best pure hitters when he was young.
Mm-hmm.
He came rookie year, or so he was 1982. believe it or not, and he was playing in
awesome.
2007.
Yeah.
Is beyond me, but
Hey, listen.
he could hit, man.
Mm-hmm.
He could hit with the Braves, and he played with Texas, and he played with the Mets, I think, twice. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said too. You know, you got that high of a WAR. It's not just because you stunk and you hung around till you were 48.
and then 2007, we're starting to see some guys throw hard.
Yeah.
And he was 48 years old, and he's still hitting the ball. I mean, they have a hand-eye coordination and have the reaction time. Hey,
Yeah, you got Jabba Chamberlain coming up throwing 95 and 97, 96 with
at that point, right?
you know, throwing frisbees as sliders. You know what I mean?
Amaya was throwing 100. Bruce Rodon was throwing 100 miles per hour.
CC Sabathia threw a 92-mile-an-hour slider. You know what I mean? It's
J.J.
like
Putz, I believe, at the time was throwing hard. You know, I guess Billy Wagner was about done by then. Randy Johnson was still throwing 98 miles per hour.
Yeah.
He has the record for the hardest pitch for the oldest guy. He threw like 97 at like 42 years old.
yeah. So it wasn't like he was just still facing BP pitchers.
It wasn't like, you were throwing, 88 and stuff like that, which is still hard to do, but, it makes a little bit more sense. These guys are throwing 98 miles per hour, and he's, 48 years old, smashing the ball. And you're like,
Right.
dude, what is this old guy? He has the quote saying he wanted to collect a MLB paycheck at his pension at the same time. Julio Franco, which means he had to get to 50. He didn't quite do that, but goddamn, he did close.
No, he was getting close.
Then he went overseas and played. I think he was playing when he was 56 years old, 57 years
Yeah,
old.
he's about to start collecting Social Security. He's still playing baseball. You know.
Yeah.
yeah,
And he's probably batting 300.
probably. Yeah.
Same old crazy stance.
Yep.
Unbelievable. That's baseball.
Yeah, Julio Franco.
And I don't want to be that guy, but I'm going to put a good guess say he never took steroids.
Oh no.
48 years old, and he was out there hitting the ball. He was on steroids.
No, or else his bones would be crumbling up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, who knows? But that's the trivia question. So I just thought that was cool. Pujols hitting home runs, and it's always fun to get Julio Franco out there because he was so old playing the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it wasn't like
absolutely.
1950. It was literally 15 years ago. I watched the guy play.
Mm-hmm.
You can go get an MLB game and you can sign him to a 10-year. We signed him to a 10-year contract one time playing MLB. He was 48. We signed him to 10 years. He was 58 years old. His contract right now. It's hilarious.
Yeah. In real life, he would have played every little bit of that too.
He would have loved it. He probably would have batted 250.
Yeah,
All
absolutely.
right, this guy gets the job done.
Yeah.
But that's all I got though.
Yeah, I mean, Julio Franco, always good to talk about him. Better than talk about Ray Schalk. So.
Oh my gosh. I know. Almost did. Wainwright, Yachty, Molina, they passed Ray Schalk on that starts list.
Yeah,
He was
that's
on, like,
funny.
On there.
That's funny. Of course, Ray Schalk shows up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's all I got for this episode. A lot of news. The Tatis being more sad news, so I led off with more of the Drew Rasmussen news. Thought it was a little more optimistic to start the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's we're looking at tight races coming up here. We're starting to see some teams pull away as far as records and
MVP races,
things.
and Cy Young races, and Rookie of the Year races, and
yeah. But there's still a lot of time left. I think there's still like 60 games, more or less, 58, something like that. So
50 plus at least.
Yeah,
That's changes seasons.
Right. So I mean, you're getting there. But again, that's kind of all I got for this week. So we'll see more in the coming weeks as baseball starts to get down to the wire.
Yeah. That's all I got. Some side news. We had the NBA release their summer schedule. Exciting. Hockey's coming around. NBA's coming around. Football's literally starting in 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
NASCAR races. They're getting down to their playoffs. Golf is in their playoffs. So, it's kind of buzzing sports world here at this point. And then the last little side note we have here is young Billy over here, whose birthday is coming up, I think, on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be 68 years old.
Yes.
No, he's going to be whatever he is, 26. So
No more insurance.
Yeah,
That's what I have to look forward to.
And he needs it.
Yeah.
If everyone knows him, look
I
at
know.
him. So, but yeah, his birthday's coming up, so we wish him a happy birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah.
So we'll have more excitement next week.
And we'll both be 26 old fucks. So.
Yeah, we'll be.
Or foxy grandpas. We could be,
We're still 22 years away from possibly tying Julio Franco's home run record.
It's incredible. It's
years.
almost our whole life still to get to Julio Franco.
Yeah, I got 22 more. I got a shot making the league.
Oh my goodness.
I still got a shot making the MLB.
Hey, you never know.
22 years, and once I pass that 48 mark, I'm breaking records. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where we're at. So.
Yeah. Well, I guess if that's it, then I guess we can wrap this one up.
Yeah, that's all I got.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. You can catch this podcast on Apple Podcasts, as well as Google Podcasts and Spotify. You can listen on our regularly updated YouTube channel, as well as our website, screwball.podbean.com. You can follow me on Twitter at @RealMikeLepre. You can follow me on Instagram at Mike Lepre.
And you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at FDubs10.
You can follow our official Screwball Twitter at ScrewballPod. You can follow our official Screwball Facebook at ScrewballPod. No E in Screw. And that's it from us, guys. We'll see you next week.
Yep, take care.